We'll start with Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of the March 26th Planning Board meeting. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion about the minutes? Second was Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, hearing none. All those in favor? One abstention. Item number 2, disclosure of conflict of interest. Does anybody have any conflicts with anything that they're going to be voting on tonight?
I am an employee of Colby College. I don't stand to gain anything from dorms being built up at Colby College, though. I can recuse myself if anybody thinks that that would be appropriate.
Do you have the microphone on?
I do.
She did have it on, yeah.
Turn on my
Is the sound coming through okay, Chad?
I was saying that I don't stand to gain anything by dorms being up at Colby. I can recuse myself if anybody finds it to be an issue.
I don't have a problem.
Okay, I don't have a problem. I know you looked at me worried.
Well,
But
you are like,
right. So
I
my
know.
husband works at Colby College. I also don't stand to gain from the project, but can also recuse myself.
I think it's good to be clear for the public
Yep.
that they both have connections to the academic side, not any of the development side of Colby.
Correct.
So,
Yep.
Is there any further discussion? Okay, so item number 3, DWL LLC is requesting approval for revisions to a previously approved plan for Reservoir Hill.
That plan is on the screen,
Okay,
and I can't point to it with the clicker very easily, so I'll just use my finger. They are adding lots 14, 15, and 16, and extending the road, which is called Reservoir Lane. That's the only change. You've approved this before, and this change is in Fairfield.
Okay.
The only part of this project that's in Waterville is down here. So you've approved this before, and so you're just approving the revision, which, as I said, is in Fairfield.
and they're not changing anything to the Waterville part?
No change to the order,
Okay.
and I have the plans over there if you'd like to sign them before you go, that'd be great. But you have to vote this before.
Yeah. Any discussion about that or questions for Ann? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Dave and then Hillary. All those in favor? Okay,
Is that unanimous?
yeah. 295 KMD LLC is requesting a review to revisions of a previously approved plan for Penny Lane Hill Park. Hi, Jeff.
Good evening. Jeff Allen from Hudson, and this is Mark McCluskey that I work with. And up at Penny Hill, we're requesting a approval of a site plan modification. And what the change is, this is an aerial shot of what's there now. This area up here, we're going to build a small garage. And the other thing is about 1,000 square foot addition to the edge of the fitness center or gymnasium down here. That's it. So this area is previously impervious. This area has been graded over some, but I'm not sure if that impervious area has already been approved. But it's like 1,024 square feet, I think. We have approval letters from the fire department, water, sewer, all of and the city engineer. So can show you the plan we've got here.
It's a long deed.
Yeah. Sorry. Maybe I can just grab this. There we go. So this is the addition to the gym that's up there, that's going on. And again, the garage up here at the end of the parking lot. So,
Okay,
Any
questions for
questions?
Jeff?
We've previously approved the addition to the gym, correct?
you,
Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
And then the time expired just not too long ago.
The maintenance garage, the land that's behind that, it grades down into what? Is it,
it's a wooded area up there.
does it have water? Is it wetland?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
No, and there's quite a bit of land back beyond.
Is there? Okay.
The building site,
Okay.
yep.
But it is a ravine.
Will there be erosion control measures?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah. Somewhere in here, there's the plan that shows that.
Excellent. Any other questions?
Okay, we can move on to findings and facts, Jeff. That works for you.
And I have a copy of it.
Make a motion to read by number only?
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, all those in favor? All right, Jeff, are you okay with the number thing?
Yes,
Okay. We haven't changed any of the.
it's
Number 1.
true,
Okay, number 2.
true,
Number 3.
true,
Number 4.
true,
Number 5.
true,
Number 6.
true,
Number 7.
true,
Number 8.
true,
Number 9.
true also.
And then the fire conditions as listed that are fairly,
Yep, and those are acceptable.
yes. Okay. Any other comments about the findings and facts? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as written.
Motion to approve?
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, all those in favor?
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is Colby is requesting an informal pre-application review for Mayflower Hill Drive. Hi, Holly.
Hi, my name is Holly McKenzie. I'm a project manager with Colby College, and yes, we are requesting an informal pre-application review for a new residence hall on Mayflower Hill Drive. Giving some context to where we're looking at on campus, here is a what's new of Adobe. Mayflower Hill Drive here as you come up North Street, passing the football field, Miller Lawn, and we are proposing a new residence hall here on the corner of Cotter Drive and Mayflower Hill Drive. Giving the context of where it is on campus.
Is that like the
Oh.
Roberts lot, Holly?
It is not the Roberts lot. So the Roberts lot is right here.
Oh, okay.
This is across from the Diamond Building. The new Gordon Center is on the diagonal.
Okay.
So it's a current grass and wooded area.
Museum?
It is, yes, it is
Yeah.
across from the Eustis lot, across from Cotter Drive. Yep, so the Eustis lot is right here, again, Cotter Drive, and it is an existing wooded and grass lot that is next to Mary Lowe and Dana and Cotter, right on that corner there. Any questions on the context of where we're talking on campus before I switch plans to a more detailed site plan? Great. So if we look at just a little bit of a zoomed-in view here, we are proposing a 109,000 square foot residence hall that will host 217 students on campus. It is designed by Hopkins Architects and Brunner Cott, and we are hoping, again, we're just doing a preliminary review tonight and coming back in 2 weeks for our final approval.
I'm sorry, how many students?
217.
270, okay.
Okay, questions for Holly?
Question, are all the buildings, are those all new? That's all new construction we're looking at on the screen?
It is all new construction, and it is all one building on this ground floor. There are some pass-throughs underneath that first floor, so when we look at the site plan, it can look as though it's separate buildings, but it is all one. It's all connected above.
How many stories or how?
Ranging from 3 to 4 stories, it varies in height.
Feel super old right now. I can barely see that, but like it's
Let me see if I
very,
can
very-
zoom in a little bit.
All right, cool.
Maybe.
It's super close to the road, right?
It is, yes. And it is in line and reflects also the Mary Lowe and Foss Woodman as they kind of along Runnels and then they come out and touch Mayflower Hill at points. It's very similar architecture to that.
Okay.
What's the time frame that you're looking at?
We are going to begin preliminary site enabling utility work in the end of May, and we will begin the actual building construction in the fall.
Looking to complete when?
Looking to complete for the fall of '26 occupancy.
There's a rain garden there, right?
The rain garden is actually across on the other side of Runnels, so
Oh.
that's not being touched.
So there's a culvert, there's a cat that lives in the culvert. Do you have a plan to rehome? No. There is a cat. I'm sure the cat will find its own way though.
Just out of curiosity, are you looking to expand the student body at Colby? Is this to accommodate more students or like to bring more students on campus?
This is to accommodate our past and continuous growth of students on campus. The student body of Colby is growing, and so this is just a reflection of that.
On the outside of the building, is it going to be brick like some of the other dorms or what?
Yes, it's going to be brick. Yep.
Great. Any other questions? Amy?
Is there a cost for the project, the price?
We're not disclosing that at this time.
Okay, and is this for all classes, freshmen through seniors, or just freshmen, or?
The project has been designed for upperclassmen students.
And how many buildings look like one building? How many buildings are there, or?
It's one building.
Right, but
There's
it looks
6
like.
wings to
Oh,
it.
6 wings, okay. So the architect is who? Hopkins?
Brunner Cott is the architect of record.
Ann?
So would you like to ask the planning board to waive the notification requirement?
Yes, I would like to.
That's what Kathy just said.
I'll make a motion to waive the notification of abutters.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any discussion about that?
No, I had one more question.
Yeah.
In terms of building, I assume it would be similar to the Arts Center in terms of building and traffic on Mayflower Hill Drive.
Correct.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I know Foss Woodman has that parking lot across from it. A lot of the students park there, right?
Foss Woodman, the parking lot that was across
Across
from,
the street? Is that not a parking lot?
that's currently the Gordon Center.
Oh, right. Oh my God, I live like a mile from there, I'm so embarrassed. Okay, so where are we parking all the kids?
It's existing students that we're looking to adapt from. We've had a bit of a housing crunch, and so this will alleviate some of the crunch that we have on campus now. So there will be no additional parking needs.
Okay.
And where would you stage all of the sort of construction vehicles and building supplies?
So we, again, is what we have done at the Gordon Center. There's a small lot that's kind of tucked up on Runnels Hill that was used for construction of the Gordon Center. So that is currently being proposed as construction parking.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm thinking about, I too live right around the corner. I'm on half a mile from there. So when you were building that, I mean, there wasn't anything there. And a lot of it was during the summer when students weren't around. So I'm assuming that would be a similar approach, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Great. We have to, I know, we have to vote on the waiving of the abuttable notices. So all those in favor? Okay. And do we have a quorum for the,
Not yet.
okay.
I'll be there.
So David is here, one moment, please. I've got Tom, Sam, Cassie, David. I'm asking for the 14th. Hillary, do you know if
May.
you're available? And Matt? Oh, you did email them? Okay,
Get back to you on that.
okay, thank you.
I can be there.
Okay.
There's a high school strings concert that I think they should probably, I don't know what to do. We'll talk about it later. You just need 5 minutes, right? We just need 5? All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have, Matt is a maybe. And you is a maybe.
If you need a quorum, I'll
But
just-
April's.
April, did you say yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we will see you back for final plan review.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
So they're coming back on the 14th.
Okay. Item number 6, Gaunt Investments LLC is requesting preliminary and final plan review for the solar farm.
Good evening,
Good evening.
and thanks for having me back. My name is Alex with Revision Energy, Alex Roberts-Perel. I was here in 2023 for a pre-application conference. The project has largely been unchanged, which is why we're back without a second pre-application. I think we went past the 6-month window, but Anne welcomed us to apply with no real changes to what we discussed last year, apart from, I know you've passed the amendments to the solar farm ordinance, and so the application was written to try to roadmap through how the project continues to meet all of the new additions as well. And the delay in the submittal was, as we discussed last year, just related to needing to amend the full engineering of the Central Maine Motors campus. This little project would reopen their DEP site loss LOTA permit, so it's a minor amendment to that. So just had to wait for his civil team to work through all the stormwater pieces, which were provided. So I can just give a brief overview, and I guess maybe I have the mouse here.
I think if you close out of this
I hope that Jeff,
Adobe and then yours
can you
should
see
be.
your file up there? Did he put your file on there? Do I need to put mine?
I see a couple of things over here. It is.
Oh, that would be his. Oh, it's
Maybe,
that's good.
nope.
You have 2. Let me put this back in.
Okay.
Make sure, I don't think you've done.
Not a Tractor it's not it. Supply. All right, I'll let you catch it up. I'll just briefly set up. So it's technically it's 20 and 30 Airport Road. It's lots 18 and 20. So behind a portion of, I think it's some of the auto body shops between that and the airport, and then there's the Waterville self-storage just to the northeast. The project is 280 kilowatts AC, so it's just a couple of acres, and only half of it is currently wooded. The rest is in the cleared, undeveloped area behind the structure. So for scale, I know Waterville has a couple of other larger projects. This is 1/4 of a megawatt, so I think when I talked to the fire department, we use the term solar garden a little bit more than a solar farm for this one. It's not a kind of a larger shared offtake model. Central Maine Motors will own the system, and all of the power generated directly benefits their businesses. Revision is developing it, permitting it, designing it, coordinating with CMP, which it's been approved for. We'll be the contractor installing the system, and then we'll also be the maintenance contractor, service technician through the life of the project, so we'll be on board with their team. Like I said, the project has been approved by CMP. It was approved prior to the pre-application conference. It now has been submitted back to the DEP for an amendment to the site law application. The amendment process doesn't have a timeline with DEP, so I don't know yet when that will be approved. Obviously, we won't start any work until that is approved. Likely this calendar year is the goal.
You see your folder up there?
Yes.
No, that's not.
Oh.
That's a trick. Sentiment.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right, I'll back up one sec just to, I think I described this and I saw a lot of nods, so it seemed like most people know where this is, but so coming off of Kennedy Memorial, a little ways down Airport Road, this is kind of all the Central Maine Motors campus, you could say. And so the project is, it's one system electrically. It is situated in these two portions of these adjacent lots. And let me pull up the plans. And let me know if I can zoom in a little for the people further away. So just to walk you through the orientation, so this is the existing structure and existing structure. The system will interconnect to, there's three-phase power that already comes onto the property, so there's no new off-site electrical infrastructure, I guess you could say. There's a single new utility transformer in this area, and then all the power after the existing pole, which brings power into the site, will run underground. There's all of the inverters, combiners are consolidated here. They're actually going to be tucked underneath this row of modules, which is usually the kind of standard practice for these smaller arrays. And then all the DC side wiring between rows of modules will be underground within the array and then run underground to the second array. Each one will be individually fenced, and it attempts to show this on this plan, but there will be essentially 3 new sides of agricultural style fencing to meet the ordinance on the northern array. And that will meet what is an existing 6-foot chain link fence, so just reuse what's already on the site. And then the southern array will do the same. It'll meet the existing fence and then install new fence around it. I can try to just walk through, I guess, the solar ordinance pieces. The specific thing that we spoke about last year, which I think is now worded more nicely in the ordinance, so it's actually easier to speak to, is that both lots are currently in the commercial C zone. And so it was really the idea of Ann and the board last year that only the portions of the lots where solar would be rezoned to airport industrial, which you felt was appropriate given it abuts the airport, and then it would be a approved use, and there's no, moving solar into the commercial zone as a use, so that remains the plan. I provided kind of the flow of why that is appropriate based on the requirements of the ordinance. I can answer any questions to that, but largely it's that it is, I guess, appropriate and common to a largely commercial and industrial area. There are no environmental impacts or sensitive habitats, and no agricultural soils or agricultural uses or viable housing, I guess, as alternatives.
Is it not airport industrial now, Ann?
Yes.
It is?
What Alex was saying is that the city just rezoned the rear of those
Yeah,
two.
okay. But that has, yeah.
And they haven't, I guess that rezoning would be contingent on the projects getting approved and built. And the idea being that you can imagine kind of if you took roughly the red lines of where the solar is, only transferring those areas into airport industrial so that there's no compromise to the commercial uses of the existing uses, if that makes sense.
Yep. There was some talk about the fire access road.
Yep. Yeah, I can skip ahead to that now.
Part?
Yep. So I think the only comment back from the general city review team, I guess, was in communicating with the fire department. Part of the, I guess, design on the engineering side, one of the goals, like I mentioned, was to try to keep the pre-development and post-development stormwater essentially the same, to utilize the existing impervious area of the property, given the full interior paved access that would move around the site. The civil engineer's goal was to keep the impervious area down so that there wouldn't be a bunch of new stormwater designs. So I talked to Deputy Chief Jason Frost quite a bit last week. He had said really the access that he needs to these projects can be done in multiple ways, but ultimately he needs to be able to get to within any portion of the interior of the fence line from 200 feet away. So you can envision walking a hose within 200 feet to any portion of an array. So when we started talking, his first ask was if we would consider building access roads into these areas, which is not ultimately something that we couldn't do, but we're hoping to explore some other options first, given there's not a huge amount of extra space for additional roads, and then the goal of keeping impervious down. So what Jason and I came up with, and I apologize in advance, this I think is going to be hard to see, but I'll zoom in, was essentially to add additional gates to both arrays, so that from multiple positions through the interior of the property, and I'll talk about in a second, utilizing existing paved gravel access of the storage area, which I spoke to those landowners yesterday and they are okay with, that by adding gates, the planned gates were here and here, adding an additional gate to the east of the northern array, and then 2 additional gates to the southern array, that from points on existing paved areas, he could park a truck and walk a hose to anywhere within either fence line. So that was the kind of solution that we had talked about maybe 2 times over the phone, and then shared this drawing with each other. And then there's some distances from each place, that by adding the multiple gates, essentially there's, access well within 200 feet.
And you
to-
shared that
to-
with fire already?
Yep, yeah, Jason and I spoke on Thursday or Friday of last week, as well as yesterday, to go over this plan. And so his feedback initially was that would work for him with an approval from the self-storage owners. So I spoke to them on the phone yesterday, and they had no issues. I think the one open item that maybe came from Ann to Jason had called me yesterday about it, was that there may be a need to, I guess, kind of memorialize that through maybe like an emergency access easement.
Yeah.
So in 10 years, if they sell their land, that there isn't a chance that there's a revoking of
I was
emergency
going to
access.
ask
So,
that. That's a good question.
so that's something that I told Jason that we can discuss freely. It sounded like if that was something that was presented, then that would all work. I do need to formalize that, just because the easement piece is a little bit more of a legal agreement. I've, I guess, floated it past our council, and they're going to draft something up that we can present to those owners in such a way that we don't want to be restrictive intentionally or unintentionally about what they could do in the future. So make it work for you all and work for them, since they're being kind enough to say, yeah, a fire truck can come into our property if needed. If for some reason, and they need to be on board with that, obviously, they are not wanting to memorialize that in an emergency access easement type of a thing, then we will work with Jason on either finding a way to accomplish a similar thing with a gate to the south, which I avoided as a first step because there's kind of a severe ditch through this area. So I don't think that that's a good first choice. But I can work with the engineer to either fill and add a culvert to this area to make something that is safe to cross, or then I told Jason then we can look at where additional driveways or roads might fit in, and that just will change that goal of the stormwater plan, but realizing that the safety piece for his needs is a mandatory. Any questions on how we arrived at that, or if that makes sense?
No, there aren't any existing roads that would you could just branch off of over there? From, how did when they get to the recon building and stuff,
Yeah, so what this is probably going to lose the resolution. What they don't, so their property lines essentially go to this driveway and then to the edge of this driveway, and this is about 35 or 40 feet wide.
Yeah, I don't see they'd be developing anything
No,
there in the future.
It's unlikely,
Right.
but
Yeah, the easement's a good idea.
if we can't speculate. I guess they
Right.
could sell it and build something right to the setbacks. So I think it makes sense to, if that is to be a part of the plan, to just make sure that it's in the record, I guess. But to your question, the existing access is to this structure does go in and around between the array area, the northern array area, and this structure is kind of a riprap embankment. So there isn't a great way to use this existing access. This access is pretty good because it really gets you everywhere. But to Jason's point, it doesn't necessarily get a person with a hose into the fence.
To the back.
And he had acknowledged the likelihood that they will need to fight a fire at a small solar array is really, really low. But it is something that they need to have.
Mm-hmm.
So
if you have a different creative solution, we could,
No, I
we
was
could
just
certainly
looking
entertain
at the
it.
parking lot that surrounds it right there, and it's like, well, we could get to most of it,
Yeah.
I feel like, from that,
Yeah, it's really just the one.
that far part.
It's really just kind of this area, and so, you know, obviously 200 feet from over here, and maybe it's like, I was trying to be conservative with where your truck might go, not trying to make too many assumptions and keeping his hose lines as straight as possible. Obviously, I think you could move a little bit further and gain a little bit, but I didn't ask him about, you know, leaving a gap or accommodating I don't know what the distance of a hose spray is, if that adds any on. So I started with what could we provide to give I guess the full picture of the ask, and potentially the second piece is almost all of it adequate, but we're not, I don't think, at that point yet where we needed to ask that.
Alex, is the highest fire risk from the combiner and the inverter? Is that?
Yeah, I'd say the fire risk in general is low. Kind of phase one of an emergency is disconnecting. The disconnects are in the system because all of that gear is consolidated right here. Really, any of that disconnect is consolidated right inside of the main gate. And Jason and I talked a little bit about, like, if the actual, like, fire concerns of projects are largely in brush fires, like if something jumps down. Part of the service of these projects is in grass, you know, mitigation. You're mowing them a couple of times a year to make sure that any brush is pretty well below the, you know, 3-ish foot drip line of panels. And he had acknowledged that too, of like, really their concern is something migrating to brush, and for a small system that's not surrounded by forest or development, it's not a huge concern. But it is part of, you know, like the NFPA access, which is what we're trying to meet. But yes, disconnects are consolidated in this area.
What are you planning to plant under the solar arrays? Because we have suggested we would like to see native plants.
Yep. Yeah, we usually just use, it's like a DEP recommended native pollinator friendly grass seed mix, and then there's no, we don't use like herbicides, pesticides. It's just, we leave up all the erosion control until grass is fully growing, I guess. It's considered stabilized, and then it goes into the kind of twice a year mowing.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I don't know the brands, but that's generally what we're using, yeah.
It's not Roundup ready.
No.
Just kidding. Any other questions? Okay. I will move on to findings and facts. Do you have a copy of this, Alex?
I wasn't able to print it. I know Ann sent it right at the end of the day.
That's okay. I can read it too.
Okay,
And then you
sorry
can,
about that.
instead of just saying 1, 2, 3, yeah. So number 1 is the development will not result in undue water or air pollution on or off the site.
True.
Number 2 is sufficient water is available for the foreseeable needs.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of not applicable.
Doesn't need too much water. There is, part of it is for fire control, but there is water down.
Yeah, there are multiple hydrants right there on Airport Road.
Number 3, will not cause unreasonable soil or erosion or reduction in the capacity of land to hold water.
True, yep.
Number 4, the development will not cause unreasonable highway or public road congestion.
Also true.
Sorry, that was 4. Number 5, the development will provide adequate solid waste disposal.
True.
Number 6, the development will not cause an unreasonable burden on the ability of the municipality to dispose of sewage.
Also true, no sewage connection.
Number 7, the development will not have an undue adverse effect on the scenic or natural beauty of the area.
True.
Number 8, the development is in conformance with zoning.
True.
Number 9, the developer has adequate financial technical capacity to meet the standards.
True.
And then we have conditions from the fire department, so things that Jason's gone over with you, general life safety, doing a walkthrough, with him, having Knox boxes on all the gates. Oh, and we have the easement in there, I was gonna motion for that. So, shall provide a legal recorded easement to the owner of the storage facility and an assigned project manager. Pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Okay. If they can't get the easement in, does he have to come back for a revision or?
Unless you want to revise the conditions to say that he doesn't have to come back.
Well, if we don't do that and it results in a change, then I guess
Yeah.
I can run it by Ann, because the first goal might be a movement of an additional gate and try to kind of mimic this from a different angle.
Okay.
And then at worst case, it would be starting to add some driveway within the property, and I don't know if that's enough to trigger an amendment or just something that can be signed off, but I can work
Yeah,
with
that-
Jason and Ann first and figure out if we need to come back.
Okay.
If you revise the driveway, I think you should bring it back. If you're just changing gates, I don't think it matters.
Okay.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
That was Hillary. All those in favor? All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alex. The council's a little messy over here. I got napkins.
Sign
It's
a
like-
plan for reservoir.
Yep.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. If you just made one.
Motion to adjourn.
Any further discussion? Okay.